onto the RSA now, and a lot of change in this market over the last 24 hours or so, where Santini, who's been favourite for so long, now out to 7-2 best price, with money coming in for Delta Work, who's now 3-1 Fav, and top of the game at 5-1, but that price seems to be going as well. So seemingly the market not particularly happy or not supportive of Santini, despite positive words coming from Nicky Henderson after he was taken for a spin on the weekend. Tony, how do you see this one?
I think Delta Work's the right favourite. Wouldn't have any argument with the price at 3-1, even though that's shortening. Santini, I can leave well alone at 7-2. I do know they were very happy with the work we were on the blind side at Newbury on Sunday, but then again, and it apparently was a decent piece of work as well. It wasn't, they didn't dawdle around, but
surprising to see the price drifting out on the back of that after.
I just think it was too short anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, they think it might have been, put it spot on, but it just looks a bit slow to me, that horse. I think there'll be some pacier horses in here. Front three in the market, I wouldn't have a massive kind of argument with any of the top three in the betting, albeit I think Santini is too short even at the top price 7-2. You'll probably only get your money back, but if you want to have a bet in the race and not lose, from a trading point of view as well, OK Corral should not be 8-1 non-1 no bet for this race.
Yeah.
If OK, I know it's unlikely, but if they did switch it to this race, it would be probably second favourite, if that. I mean, the whole thing about non-1 no bet is you take a price and it will be considerably shorter if it runs. OK Corral is probably about a 7-2, 4-1 shot. If it runs, it's 8-1 non-1 no bet. Don't forget about the 16s. It is in a couple of places all in. But yeah, if you want, you're probably going to get your money back on the day at the very least. OK Corral, if it does run, you've got eights about a 4-1 shot tops. But that's all I've got to say about that race. Nothing major. Just
going back to the Sunday, and obviously you whether you've spoken to Nico or not, but interesting to know on the blind side as well, in from 16s into as short as 8-1 as well. So is there any possibility that the market knows more than what we're hearing in the press?
Nico spoke to me. I did a little piece. He spoke to me on the way to Huntingdon. Might Bite worked on his own, and he sounded genuinely upbeat. I mean, it takes a leap of faith, to back that horse. But that said, he's had his win streak. Nicky Henderson's got a very good record when the horse is coming back from a wind up. So if they think he's going to get decent ground, I think Might Bite, they are increasingly bullish about running a much better race than he has done this season, albeit that won't take much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was keen on him. They jumped 10 fences yesterday with Santini on the blind side. He did say they went single file for the first 5 fences, so literally just not a searching gallop. They knew what they're doing, and they quickened up for they jumped those 5 fences again, and then they just lengthened in the straight. So I do know they were struggling to get both there, albeit off of a few jabs, but it sounds like they were very happy with them both without going overboard. Okay. But I took, from speaking to Nico, what I took out of it, that Might Bite was probably the one they were very, very happy with.
So this, as a disclaimer, this is being recorded on Monday morning. So if this is all changing in the next couple of days, that's when we're recording. Joe, coming to you next now, so you can hopefully jump in ahead before Andy gives you a selection.
Is Drover's Lane running here?
I believe so, yeah.
I'd give him a shout.
25-1 with Hills.
Yeah, I'd give him a shout. I think Rebecca Curtis does fairly well with novice chasers, at least staying novice chasers. He's in the JLT as well, I think. I just thought, Tony's bang on, I've nothing more to add there. I think Delta Work is probably the right fav. Ditch Eat is roaring about top of the game. Nicky's always loved Santini. They're probably the 3 standout ones at the top of the market. But if you wanted to look at something at a decent price, I think Drover's Lane. I just think that she's put him away since December at Cheltenham, and has clearly been targeting this race, or at least the festival. I just think he's a little bit overpriced, considering there's not a huge amount of depth.
It's interesting you say that. Market. Interesting you say about Drover's Lane. I mean, if you look at the Betfair Exchange price, it's pretty much bang on the 25s, and obviously you might be looking to back it each way as well. So though it's tiny sums involved, the market does suggest it's going to turn up, and it does suggest that 25 or Hills might be under pressure as well. So
just think behind the front 3 in the market, which, as you say, are probably the right 3. He just presents a little bit of value.
Andy?
Yeah, I agree with Tony with Delta Work. He looks just thoroughly professional. You often find that the RSA winner goes to a horse like that, who's not a particularly sexy type, but he's got that ability just to grind out a result. The fact that he won at the festival as well last year, that's another important thing to mention. And when Glenlow came up alongside him as well at the last, he just would not let him go. He's like a boa constrictor, wasn't he? He just tightened his grip and found plenty for pressure. And that's the thing about Delta Work. Every time you put him under pressure, he finds. When Larichburg come there, going well against him in the Drimore, he found more that day. And he was good good last time when we saw him at Leopardstown. I like horses that jump around Leopardstown as well efficiently. And that's what he is, an efficient jumper. I don't think he's overly exuberant, perhaps a little bit careful, but I think you also want that as well, a horse with a bit of self-preservation that doesn't go and headbutt one, that looks after himself a little bit, that can work himself into a race. I think that's another important point to make about a horse, not expending too much energy over 3 miles. My only doubt with regards to top of the game, I do think that's the best UK form, obviously, Grade 1 race that one Great Trissig's mare won, and the time figures are excellent. They ran the last circuit 2 seconds quicker than Clanders Oboe, so they were obviously operating at a very strong pace. I've watched top of the game a few times. He just looks, every single time that you put him under maximum pressure at the end of his race, he just looks as though whether it's strength, weakness, or he's not quite the finish article, he hasn't quite got home. He didn't get home in the Coral Cup last year over 2.5. He definitely didn't get home in that Kempton race. He looked laboured on the running.
I can't get Ascot out of my head either.
Yeah.
When he 2 Decembers ago, whenever it was, he was all over the shop.
Absolutely.
Did he whip round at the start at Exeter as well?
It was an extraordinary run, yeah. I mean, he gave
Yeah.
Black Op and another good horse.
Defi de Sil,
Defi was 20 length head start. I mean, look, don't get me wrong, this horse has got an absolute shed load of ability, there's no doubt about it.
There's a definite kink in him somewhere.
Yeah, but like if Delta Work and top of the game are like side by side or close by each other coming down the hill, and I think there's going to be a small field here, so I can't see him being strung out. There's only going to be like 8, 9 runners maximum. So the cream will come to the top. I can't believe that Delta Work won't outstay top of the game from that point onwards. I mean, last week Delta Work, when I was doing a preview, was like 4-1, and he looked at the proverbial bet for nothing each way, 4-1. He's now dried up. I think he'll go off favourite, 5-2, 9-4. Santini's gone wonky on the exchanges for some reason. There's nobody wants to back him. I don't know what piece of work he did the other day, but clearly hasn't impressed. And I can't find any dangerous floaters in this race. Well, normally I like to look for the sneaky one at a price. Joe's Driver's Lane's a good shout. But a lot of them seem to be going elsewhere. A lot of these, as we mentioned, are going for the 4 mile. I think everyone wants to run in the 4 mile, and nobody wants to run the RSA this year. So you're better off just sticking with the best horses down the front end of the market. Delta Work for me is the best of them.
Just one very quick, I know we're a bit rushed here, but just one quick point about the exchange prices. There are very, very illiquid markets, but always don't just look on the lay side.
Yeah.
And obviously, if people queue out to back it, it's a positive sign. But for example, Santini, it is that nobody wants to back it at the moment. But the last trading price is just 4.6, so it's not weak as such. Nobody's laid it at big prices, but nobody's just queuing out to back it, which is a concern in itself. But what I would say, when you look at especially illiquid markets like a lot of these Betfair markets are, you've got to just look at the last trading price rather than...
Of course, but also worth pointing out that currently there's, the 224 quid looking to lay at 4.5, which given the lack of money in the market is significant enough.
But also, it is 7-2.
Yeah.
You can get 7-2 fixed odds. So,
of course.
And if you've taken a view that is underpriced, then you would be top of the queue.